Jimmy, it's Bob.
Yeah, how you doing?
Well, the next question is basically, you already sort of answered it. It's many colleges, universities offering programs headed by well-known players, blah, 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 blah. I think we got your answer there.
Yeah, a waste of time for a young person.
Yeah, all right.
There's no more.
Right. Got it. Okay, let's go to the next one. What music are you currently listening to?
I've always listened to classical music.
Oh.
It's my favorite kind of music to listen to. When I was 16, I only listened to guitar music. There are a couple records that I wore them out. One is by Hank Garland, Jazz Winds from a New Direction. Then after that is Johnny Smith, Moonlight in Vermont. And from there it was Tal Farlow, Joe Pass, Herb Ellis, Pat Martino, of course. I know I met Pat when I was 16. I'm 66. I know him for 50 years. Yeah. And when I lived in Philly, when we were both doing a lot of traveling, when we were off, we'd always get together and hang out at his house or at a restaurant, and we would talk about music, of course, guitar, art, all kinds of art, painting, sculpture, everything, and mostly about life. Pat is not only a top shelf musician and guitarist, but he's a philosopher.
Mm-hmm.
I learned just his observations on life are just fascinating. He's fascinated with numbers, 12, 3, and 4, 12 apostles, triangles, squares. He applies these visual images to the guitars and to music. Brilliant. I think.
Excellent.
There's somebody. He doesn't know anything about theory. He made his own theory.
I have his books. It is great stuff. So what classical?
Shortly after the listening to guitar players, I don't want to say that I got bored with it, but I started to listen to saxophone players. Charlie Parker, Sonny Stitt from the bebop era, straight ahead, and then of course piano, Oscar Peterson and Bill Evans.
Right.
And I put Jim on there.
Mm-hmm.
And they were very inspiring to me. And then I started to listen to. I moved to Las Vegas when I was 21, and I met a girl there, a violinist. She was the concertmaster of the string section at the Sands Hotel. And to me, classical music, would be Beethoven, Mozart, the ordinary stuff. And she turned me on to Igor Stravinsky, and Petrushka was the very first thing that she played for me, and I went out of my mind. Now I became obsessed with learning how to write for strings. Now before that, I was doing writing for big band. For different acts I played for, Doc Severinsen, Lola Falana, whoever needed a chart. Right. And so she had this idea. I had written something for a singer. Went into this Las Vegas recording studio, it was called, and we used the string section from the Sands Hotel. And I wrote a couple of charts for this guy, and she had this idea of doing getting a group together with that string section and calling it Classical Smoke. And I wrote the entire album, all original stuff. One piece was not original. It was Paganini's 24th Caprice. And disco was in those days. So I wrote a single on Paganini's 24th Caprice, but in a disco style. I hope Paganini will come back and beat the shit out of it. The record did pretty good. It didn't get picked up by a big label, but it made a little bit of noise. And the best thing about it was, man, I learned how to write for strings.
I got to ask a question. So, at what tempo did you play that? Do you have any idea?
Like 120.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of disco music is at 120.
Right.
A variation of that, and 60 beats a minute is your heart rate.
Right.
It's the reason why.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of hit tunes are they're pretty close to multiples of 60 beats per minute. So, a lot of the hit records like that. And there's something to it. I never figured it out, but take notice of it sometime.
I already have. I already have.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to talk too. I'm trying not to talk too much because I've learned that in the transcriptions it makes it really difficult. Okay. So if I'm not being too conversational with you, it's only because I know what the ass end of this looks like.
And so from Stravinsky, I got into a little bit of Schoenberg, but it didn't grab me. And I kind of went backwards in a way. Ravel, Debussy, and I went back and I listened to Beethoven's music and Mozart's music, and I had studied those scores for hours and hours, and then all of a sudden that music just came alive again to me. Looking at the scores, it was like, Mozart and Beethoven, they only used a couple chords, some triads, different keys, of course, and it's like, it's just amazing to me, what those guys did with 3 or 4 chords, and what pop music guys do with 3 or 4 chords. It's pathetic.
Oh God. Yeah. I hear you there. So, all right.
There's some, I don't want to say simple music, but commercial music that I think is really, really good. I really like Eric Clapton. Knocks me out.
I love Eric Clapton.
Also, one of my favorite guitarists is Bonnie Raitt. Oh
yeah, great vocalist.
It's just pure soul. It's just feel. Yeah. That's it. And man, she got in touch with her inner self.
Oh yeah.
Man, it's just so good,
She's James Taylor's favorite vocalist.
Well, I can see that. James Taylor, I'm not impressed with. He uses a capo. With all that money and shit that he did and all the success, I think he'd go get a goddamn guitar lesson and learn to play a chord without a capo. I'm not a fan.
No, but I hear you. But he's a well-known singer as well.
Yeah.
But Bonnie Raitt is his favorite vocalist. No, she's awesome.
Well, yeah. I heard she's sick lately. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
She might be got to be in her 60s. And I bet. I really like Peter Frampton. Oh my God, I ran into him at a guitar show. And I was playing in one booth. He sent somebody over there to just find out who that is. And the guy, I went back and I met him, and he just happened to be coming near me in Atlantic City. And he invited me and my wife, got us a room, free tickets, and he picked up the whole bill to come see him play. And I was just totally knocked out by his playing. He wrote some really good tunes, too.
Yeah.
His use of he had a guitar with 3 pickups,
right?
Probably Les Paul of some kind.
Yep.
And I never saw anybody have the mastery of using that so musically, switching pickups in the same tune. Man,
do you know the story behind that guitar? That was his original guitar. That was the original guitar that he used in Frampton Comes Alive, which was like that huge record that he had back in the day. And that guitar was in a plane crash.
Really?
And he was told that the guitar was lost and burned up.
Right.
And the people that got to the plane crash first stole the guitar, basically.
Yeah.
And the guitar was down in the Caribbean for 30 years or more. Right. But he didn't know it. He thought the guitar was gone.
Right.
He got a call one day, and the guy told him that they had the guitar.
Yeah.
And he recovered that guitar he's playing is the guitar. He recovered that guitar after 30 years. There's a whole long story about it, but that's the guitar. And he takes it out and tours with it and plays with it. But I will say about Peter.
He was the first guy to use that vocoder. You put a tube in your mouth.
Yeah.
And you sing those things. Man, he did a whole thing on that. Just fantastic. You know, I'm glad you say that. A good friend of mine, George Alessandro, he's an amplifier maker.
Yeah, I know who he is. Yeah.
And he's very good friend with Eric Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? He calls me and says, boy, for some reason, Eric Johnson has just been listening to your CDs and just very complimentary. He wants to try and do something with you, you know? Now, see, that idea really intrigues me. I would love, you know, some different kinds. I'm
going to see him tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's coming to Atlanta, right?
Yeah. I'm going to do a mini interview with him tomorrow. He's going to be on the cover after you.
Oh my God! What a fantastic deal.
I can give him. I'll give him your contact information if you want.
Yeah, he should have it. George did it.
Okay. Well, I'll tell him I'm supposed to talk to him, but if I talk to him, I'll tell him that you're very excited about the possibility.
Yeah, you know, it happens. It happens. I mean, that is something more than playing bebop. You know, I'm not. I'm played out. I've been playing this thing professionally since I was 16 years old. That's 50 years. I must have traveled around the world 5 times playing the guitar.
Right.
You know, and I was lucky enough to, at a really young age, 21, to move to Las Vegas. And you know, there was maybe 500 guitar players there with 5 jobs, steady jobs. And one time I had 3 of them. And then I got the job at the Hilton for Jimmy Mullador, who's a fantastic jazz musician. He's still playing really good. And it's funny, you know, these guys are a funny thing. It's like if you wanted to get noticed in Las Vegas, you had to be a good jazz player.
Right.
You know? And I mean, of course, to work, you didn't have to play jazz. You know, you hardly ever did. I mean, you know, there's commercial stuff for different acts and stuff. But the one thing is, though, you can't make mistakes. You're out in your ass. See you later.
Yeah, right.
Very small, you know. And then when that ended, the musician strike, I moved to Los Angeles, and I met Tommy Tedesco.
Right.
I just called him out of the blue. And he started taking me around for sessions, and then I was subbing for him. And the funny thing he told me there, he says, you know, don't go out and play jazz. I says, why? He says, because the contractors, if you get a name as a jazz player, they think you can't read. Nobody will call you for studio work. Just 180 degrees away from this scene in Vegas. You know, and there was a little bit of jazz in L.A. at the time. It was mostly, I mean, the Dante's, Carmelo's, those kind of places like that. You know, and those gigs didn't pay anything. $35, $50. You know, and it's like what you had, you know, in the meantime, in the daytime, you're making $600 a day, so you can afford to go out and play for $75. You know, a bizarre situation. But, you know, from all that, from that kind of work, that's how I am able to retire financially. Musician pension and Social Security, you know, I'm so surprised that so many jazz musicians don't have that. I mean, they don't have a musician's pension, not really. And Social Security, you have to pay into it. It's voluntary. If you're self-employed, which most jazz musicians are, you have to put, if you work for a company, the company will take 7.5% of your check, right? And out of your pay. And the company will match it by 7.5%. So if you're, you know, self-employed, that means you're supposed to be sending the government 15%. Otherwise, you don't get no Social Security.
Right.
And who in the jazz world, each gig only pays enough to get you to the next gig.
Right.
So it's I'm hearing about old musicians. Of course, you get older, you get health problems, and they wind up penniless.
Right.
Kenny Burrell, UCLA. It's just a shame. And I can't say. It's hard for me to encourage a young person to pursue that dream because it's not there. Their competition is a guy with a capo. That guy, you don't need to go 4 years of music school to learn how to play C, F, and G, and A minor and D minor. You don't. That's dumb. And it's expensive, outrageously expensive. And the people that are making all the money are the people that push the papers. They don't teach. They're administrators. And they hire enough adjunct faculty. Adjunct. That means you're only allowed to have so many hours because they have to go over that amount of hours. Then you have to pay your medical insurance, get tenure, and all that other shit.
Right.
And so once again, the administrators are making six figures on the back of some jazz musician who has a name to draw students to business. I find that appalling. I won't do that ever again. That I only teach. I still teach. I only teach hobbyists. Maybe some guys who like to play on the weekend. I guess they're professional musicians. Semi-professional. And turns out my father was right. He always told me just use music as a hobby, have fun. And when he first told me that, you're 16, my father was dumb. I thought he was dumb. As I get older, he's becoming smarter by the day.
That's an old joke, but yes.
Absolutely right.
Yeah,
and like I said, if I didn't have real good paying jobs in Las Vegas and L.A., I'd be on the street.
Right.
I would really be in some really bad financial.
I understand. I understand. Let me move you on to something else here. I think I've got a pretty good idea for what you listen to, and I got an idea of the what you're inspired by. I'm gonna move right over to what is your preferred lineup today? Like, do you prefer to play solo, duo, trio, quartet? What do you? If someone says that someone wants to hire you, you say, boy, if you got the budget, I want to do a quartet or trio or a duo.
You can't hire me. I'm not for hire.
Well, no, I don't mean that. I'm talking about like if what's your favorite setup? What
was a trio? Guitar, bass, and drums.
Guitar, bass, drums. Okay.
And then I started to write some tunes, with unconventional chord voicings. Okay.
Okay.
And so guitar, bass, and drums, you really can't get the effect of what I was doing. So then I started hiring piano players. Okay. And that became a thing for a long time. And then eventually, dealing with musicians and on the road, pain in the ass. So I did a whole solo guitar thing after I made a solo record for, I guess it was Mel Bay Records. Right. And I did that for a while. And the only thing about that is that it's no fun to travel by yourself.
Oh, no. I played a solo for 5 years. I thought I was going to lose my brains.
Yeah, that's I'll tell you, that's the hardest thing to do because it's just all up to you. And Joe Gass, he loved what he was doing, and he made good money playing solo guitar. But his complaint was, it's the same thing every time. Some guitar fan or a student picks you up at the airport, and takes you to the hotel, and he's staring at you and asking you, got a string to use, et cetera. Joe would say, all I want to do is get to my room and take a nap. Right. So I get it. But I really don't miss. I don't miss playing the guitar. I don't miss traveling. I still enjoy teaching. Frank Vignola, I've done a bunch of things with him, guitar camps, and I'll continue to do that.
I've got to get you in our list of premier teachers. We've got a list of premier teachers now that we're doing. It's a small list. I'll get you. I'll organize that with you after this. Well, you're talking about Eric Johnson and talking about. I asked you, have you ever experimented with overdrive, rock and roll tones, stuff like that?
Well, yeah, absolutely, of course, but not for improvisation. It was playing all the different shows and all the different styles of music in Las Vegas and in L.A. I mean, that's all was that.
Yeah.
Very few times where I got a chord and plugged it straight into me. And guys, nobody ever said to me, "Hey, can you sound like Joe Pass?" And yet nobody ever said ever. It was at the time it was like Larry Carlton.
Right.
He was the hot thing, and he has my highest respect as a musician and a guitarist. And so I sought him out. One day I was at a music store called Valley Arts, and there he is.
Right.
Him and Robin Ford. And I went up to him and I talked to him and I asked him, Larry, everybody says to me, can you get that Larry Carlton sound? I said, how do you do that? And he says, Jimmy, pick out an amp, any amp, and I'll plug into it, and I'll show you. Didn't matter what amp I picked. He plugged into it, it sounded just like Larry Carlton. And he did tell me the trick. I do know the trick. It's not a trick. It's so simple. It's basically this. Jazz guys will play on the front pickup, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
They'll always roll the tone back, or make it darker. Well, he did the opposite. He would do it on the back pickup, or where you put it in the middle and you get the two pickups, and he would just bend that, dial that tone in, to make that sound a little darker, and use a volume pedal, and so he could control when the guitar broke up, when it was distorted, and that's how he got all that great sustain.
Rick Wheeler, it was his sound guy, guitar guy forever and ever.
Oh yeah.
And Rick was the one that told me that. Rick said that Larry plays on the back pickup and rolls the high end off.
Yes. That's it. Yeah,
that's how he gets that attack.
Yeah.
The attack of that back pickup, but he doesn't get that biting high end. It smooths out.
Right. It's exactly right.
It's funny, yeah.
He also, eventually got into, doing improvisation, playing on tunes that he wrote, like C-35, that tune.
Yeah,
and, I listened to it and I immediately, could hear, wow, if he had a C chord, he would solo using the notes D, F sharp, and F, which is a whole step above the upper partial of the chords.
Right.
Very, very easy to hear. I don't know whether it's that. I don't know those words.
Well,
I do know the words, but to me, it's the upper partials.
Right.
When I was studying jazz as a kid, I was studying with a bass player, and we would play off of all the upper partials of the chord. Target the root, the third, the fifth, the seventh, the ninth, the 11th, augmented 11th, and the 13th. So I knew all the sounds.
Right. Well, that's great. So when you're thinking about these projects with guys like, Eric Johnson and people like that, are you thinking about maybe playing, the clean jazz tone with them? Or are you thinking about maybe experimenting with...
I have no idea. I would rather not. I would rather not do that.
Would rather do what then? What would you prefer?
Well, I'm not sure, but I know what it isn't. I know what this is traditional sound.
Right, okay.
And I'm sure that's probably what they would want. I remember one time talking to Borelli LeGrid.
Yeah.
One of my favorite musicians and guitar players,
Sure.
And he said, boy, let's make a record together. And I says, well, Borelli, I got to tell you right now, I'm not a fan of Django music at all. I was never a fan of Django Reinhardt when he was alive.
Right.
And he says to me, "Oh, Jimmy, I don't want to do that. I've been doing that since I'm a little kid. I want to play bebop."
Right.
Well, okay, we're sitting around in the hotel in Wales. He says, "What do you want to play?" He says, "Let's play Donald Lee." You know, he could really, that guy can burn. He's fantastic. And I met him with another guy, Giuseppe Continenza, a guitar player. Yeah, those guys are still doing a lot of touring all over Italy.
They were on the cover of the magazine a couple months ago.
Yeah, okay.
We interviewed them for the magazine.
I like, especially Giuseppe. That's who brought me to Europe.
Yeah.
Europe with Giuseppe. And the Wales thing, was it Trevor Owen?
Yeah.
Had jazz in Wrexham, and from there I got introduced to European audiences and did a whole bunch of stuff, Italy, France, Germany, all those things, and then finally, the Orient. Do they call it the Orient?
No.
Somebody told me Chinese ladies don't use that.
Yeah.
Get rid of the O word. Asian,
right.
And I mean, it was a lot of fun. I mean, I'll tell you, the audiences are fantastic audiences there. They, they treat you like a VIP. When I went to China, it was fantastic. My God.
Are you playing 7-string at all?
No, I haven't done 7-string in a real long time. Here's the reason is that I did play for a couple years, 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I remember.
And, you can't really use that string if you play with a bass player that much,
No, not at all.
A couple chords here and there, ending chords,
Right.
And I was doing a lot of teaching. I had an online school, which I still do. Mm-hmm. And I was getting a lot of complaints that we can't see where you are on the fingerboard.
Right, it confuses people.
Playing, right? So I called Bob Bennett. That was Bob. He's going to hate me, but I need a 6-string guitar with dots. He says, "What?"
No, I understand.
Very aesthetic. He doesn't want, to Bob, a guitar's with the violin. You don't need any fret markers.
Right.
But you do have them, though, because you're looking down at the dots.
Right, on the side, yeah.
Turning around, I started to watch my own lessons, and I didn't know what the hell fret I'm in.
Well, it's
how's
funny.
How's the guy going to do that?
It's funny, Frank. We built a guitar when I was at Eastman for a couple of years, helping them.
That's right, yeah.
And we built a guitar for Frank, and he had to put dots. We had to use a guitar that he had dots because of that. The students couldn't see where he was. So
yeah, that is.
And you can't tell. I can't tell without the dots where people are if I'm watching them play.
You know how I can tell? If I don't look.
Oh yeah, you know what? You're right.
I can use my ear, but if I look, I'm screwed up. I'm not sure.
I can identify B flat and I can identify E flat. And I can identify a bunch of stuff. But if I look, you're right. I get screwed up if I look.
You have to be able to find a note. I mean, that's why there's a lot of kids. There's even professional musicians that they can't play a job without the real book. My God. And they're teaching in college. As soon as I see a teacher take out the real book, run. You don't have an ear. I mean, music and sound. If you are tone deaf, go shovel coal. Please do not play any instrument of any kind because you will suck at it.
Right.
I mean, you don't need to be a genius to figure that out.
What? Let me ask you this about
somebody who never did. The only work he ever did in his life was to play a wedding, and he's teaching jazz. Blow me. That ain't working. You can finish.
I love it. All right, the B3 trio.
Yeah.
Seems like there's a lot of those going around these days, and I've had people tell me that like that. The album you did with Joey DeFrancesco is considered to be kind of the album that was very influential in bringing it back and all of that.
It was. Well, every guitar player wants to do an organ trio record. You got to. Look at Wes Montgomery. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
So many guys. And it's such a perfect fit because in the B3, the guy's playing the bass lines with his left hand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It's not the pedals. You know,
mm-hmm.
they use the pedals to point at certain notes, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly. So he sold me with the right hand. So there's nothing in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
The range of the guitar, when you comp, you're right in between your two hands. And that's why it's such a perfect fit.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I mean, you don't get better than Joey Chester. Like, give me a break. You know? He sat in at Ortley's, which was a local club in Philly that's not there.
Mm-hmm.
And he sat in on piano and just blew everybody away. And I said to him, hey, you know, let's make a record, you know? And he says, well, maybe, you know? And we talked to Concord Records, and they said, yeah, let's do it, right? And I wrote a bunch of original tunes.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a couple standards on there. And so I sent him the music, you know, in a brown envelope, and with the metal clasp, and I taped it, okay? And I gave him the thing, and I said, okay, it's 11 o'clock at the studio in New York. It might have been Powerhouse. I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
And he showed up at 5 of 11, okay? So it's like I'm thinking maybe he forgot, you know? And I said, you get the music? And he says, yeah, I have it right here. He never opened the envelope. He never looked at it. Okay? And I'm thinking, I said, so you going to be okay with this? He says, yeah, just play the tune one time. And that was it. He's not, I don't know how much he can read of music or not. I have a feeling that it's not his forte.
Right.
But, I mean, one time through, I don't know how he does it. He got it perfectly and just played the shit out of all those tunes, you know, and they were pretty strange tunes on there. He got it right away. And then, you know, the record came out. It did well. We did a little touring a little bit. I hadn't seen him, like, you know, maybe 5 years later I run into him, and maybe in a festival, and I got to play with him, and he says, Jimmy, let's play one of your tunes. I says, I don't remember those tunes. He remembered every tune that I ever recorded and played.
Holy moly, that's saying something.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I had for breakfast.
Fantastic musical memory, fantastic ear. You know, he had perfect pitch, and I talked to his father, who's a pretty good organist too. And he said he was like that when he was 6 or 7 years old. So he would go. His father would play a note on the piano or an organ and say, "You do it," and he would just go over and he could naturally. He had perfect pitch, but he didn't know what perfect pitch was.
Yeah,
he thought everybody could do that.
That was his life.
Yeah, actually, he thought you know. I mean, I have really good relative pitch. But I didn't know perfect pitch from relative pitch. Like when I was in school, you know, especially in high school, I went to a prep school, and there was a couple. Of course, there's always a couple guitar players, you know, playing 3 chords, and you know, they're folk shit, you know, that a lot of those kids came from wealthy families. Anyway, and I thought that everybody could hear a tune and play it. You know, and they can't. It take them hours to, you know, find a tune, you know, and I don't know. It was an eye opener for me. It was,
God. No, you don't realize how special you are because it's just what you do.
Yeah. And I remember the school was, you had to take an entrance exam, right? I was surprised that I got in. I was always a good student in grade school. And tuition was $600 a year. My father had to go to a loan shark that he knew in a nightclub to borrow the money for tuition. $600 a year. That was 69, 70, 71. in there,
right.
70% down in there. Now I think the tuition is $6,000 or $7,000.
Oh, it's more than that. That's more than that.
It could be.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, that's the best education money could buy. I mean, being taught by the Jesuits. And,
yep.
you know, I mean, I'll never. I still remember things that I learned in that school. You know, the main thing I learned was that I learned how to find out if I wanted to know about a certain topic, right?
Right.
I learned the ability to know where to go look to find out about it.
That's Einstein. That's Einstein's whole thing. He said, you know, it's not what you know. It's can you learn it, or can you? The direct quote is that it's not how much you know. It's can you know, basically the same idea.
How do you go find out about it? You know,
yeah.
And it's you know, I didn't realize that and you know what's funny? I never studied in prep school. I never studied.
Mm-hmm.
I found out that I have a sort of photographic memory.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember, like, if in the class, right,
mm-hmm.
some teachers would use a book, a Latin
mm-hmm.
book or something like that, okay?
Right.
Or they would write it on the blackboard, especially for math. Mm-hmm. And I never had to study because it would just stay in my mind.
You are a lucky person.
By sight.
Yeah. Well,
you know.
You are very lucky. You're very lucky. You're a very lucky guy. That's because
you know,
there's not many.
As get older, it's first of all, here's the thing. Here's the thing that I observed about myself is that it has to be something I'm interested in.
Well, there you go.
Otherwise,
that's the difference.
I can stare at books forever, and I can.
Yeah. Now I can sign up with you. If it's something I'm interested in, I remember everything. If I'm not interested in it, I don't remember anything.
Yeah, I don't care. Right.
Yeah, that's just like They call that selective retention.
Yeah. You know what else too? I noticed about myself is that was that when I was playing in Vegas for all the stars and all these people, some of them I really admired. You know, as entertainers and singers and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get to meet them and you notice some of them were assholes.
Only some?
Well, yeah, only some. Well, actually most, but there was a handful that stick out in my mind who weren't, who were, you know, musicians, you know. Doc Severinsen, for one. That guy always had the trumpet in his mouth. He was always practicing. Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of those people I really admired. And then, you know, okay, I'm out of that scene, and then, you know, get to meet some jazz guys, and I got to know a couple of those guys, and some of them were jerk-offs, and this makes no sense, but it's like somebody, I really like their music. And then if I meet the person and he's an asshole, I hate their music now.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Throw that shit off.
Yeah. I'm the same way.
Know?
There's so much music out there. I don't want to listen to music from some asshole.
No, this whole jukebox jazz thing is a fucking disgrace. You know, I hear it and I go, there's a jazz musician who didn't save his money. There's a guy with no musician's pension. Got to cash in, dumb down, make the music dumb. Yeah. It appeals to more people. I mean, I get it. I mean, that's not rocket science either.
Well, let me ask you a question about your own recordings and stuff. Do you have favorite recordings that you did? Is there something? If I was to say, if there's anything that's a favorite, you go,
no, not a one. No, I don't.
What about
myself?
What about gigs? Over the years, have you had is there a gig? I mean, a couple of gigs that you played that stand out as where you really felt you really enjoyed yourself? I mean. Is there anything
several. I mean, everything I did with Joey was fantastic. Mm-hmm. Everything I did with Joe Beck, I really like that record, Polarity. You know, I mean, by the time the record comes out, you're sick of listening to yourself play.
No,
you know,
I understand that.
You listen to the playback, then the mix, and then they master it. And it's like, so by the time the record comes out, I hate it. You know, I hear it cringe. True. It takes like a good 2 or 3 years. I mean, I like certain cuts, certain things from certain
right.
ladies that pay. Not definitely not everything.
Okay. Well, listen, we've been at it here for about 40 minutes, a little over 40 minutes. Is there anything you wanna close with, or any particular thing that we haven't talked about you wanna add? Is there a question that nobody ever asked you that you wish somebody would?
Well, I would tell every young person that wants to go to music college, don't. There's no future in being a musician. None. You know, go to school. If you're going to spend all that money for college, go to school for something. There has to be something else would be your second choice in life. And go to school for that. And play on the weekends.
Keep music your passion, not your job. Right.
Right. You know, and people say, what do you do for a living? I play guitar. What a jerk-off job that is. I play. I mean, even the word. You know what I'm saying? That's not work. That's not a job. So, I mean, I wanted to go to medical school when I was 16. That was my goal. And I got sidetracked by women and cash gigs, you know. And I didn't go. If I had, again, I would definitely go to medical school. I had three interests. Medicine was one, because when I was younger, my father knew a bunch of surgeons, a neurologist and a surgeon. One guy is Dr. Harner, he's still around, and another guy named Robert Waups, who was a surgeon at Graduate Hospital. And they took me and my brother, and I watched some surgeries when I was about 15, 16 years old, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do that. I was interested in engineering and also architecture, you know. And it's funny, I had a student, I still remember, his first name is Ron. And he went to school, Drexel University, 5 years, you know, I think it was civil engineering, like that. He came to a lesson and said, Ron, you know, how's work? He says, I fucking hate it. Why? He said, I have student debt. 5 years, I studied my ass off, and I got my first job, and here's what I'm doing. With a wheel that measured distances from one post to the next post. That's where he started.
Right.
You know, so his, you know, I don't know what he's doing now, but I'm sure he moved up the ladder.
Well, who knows? Well, listen, I can't thank you enough for doing this. I will, I'll transcribe it and edit it, and then I'll send it to you and let you take a look at it. You know, make sure that you feel like you're being well represented and everything, and that we can always add stuff to it too. You know, I mean, even after it's printed, we can add to it because it's
think of anything, you know.
It's fun to talk to you, Jimmy. It's fun.
Well, thanks, Bob.
I didn't want to interact too much because I know that I'm on the backside of what the transcriptions look like if I talk a lot, and so rather than making it conversational, I try to just let you go. It's more fun for me, quite frankly, if I have a conversation with you and interact a lot more. But to try to create an article out of that it's a nightmare because it makes 10 hours of editing.
Long. Yeah, you got to get rid of all the bullshit.
Yeah, you got to get rid of all the bullshit, but the bullshit's what makes it fun. So, all right, Jimmy. Hey, man, thank you. I really appreciate your time, buddy. Bye now. Bye.